Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the City Colleges of Chicago IGEN Virtual Job Fair event. Today, we will be hearing from 8 presenters. Each presenter will speak for approximately 5 to 10 minutes to give you some information about their company, and will highlight the services they provide or the job openings they currently have. Today's session is being recorded and will be made available on the Illinois workNet YouTube channel for you to refer to later. Now, I am pleased to introduce Dana Nguyen and Bill Reaney with the Illinois Green Economy Network. Dana and/or Bill.
Hi. I'm Dana Nguyen. I'm the Business Engagement Manager for our project, expanding the solar workforce through the Illinois Community College system. And we're having our solar hiring event for the Chicago region. Most of the employers should be focused in that area for today's event. This event is just a direct connection to job seekers straight to the employers. They're pretty, we'll see how it goes whenever you get through it. I don't know, Bill, what else did you have to add?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. I am Bill Reaney. I'm the program manager with the DOE Cooperative Agreement for IGEN. This is a great opportunity for us all, not only as businesses, but also career path seekers to come together and look at what the solar industry is doing. See what opportunities are out there for you. Look at the different roles that are out there that you may be able to fulfill, and find a good pathway for the career choice you're making. Enjoy what you hear today. Listen, there's a lot of information that is very good, not only from what is available, but what employers look for, and also the projected growth of what the solar industry is. So with that, Daniel, if you'd like to get us started, I think we're ready to go.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bill. Our first presenter for today will be Elevate. Shalandra, are you available to present?
I am available. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon. I am Shalandra Brooks, the program manager of workforce development for Elevate. Thank you all for joining us, and I'm happy to kick us off. I'm also just wanting to give like a huge shout out because I can also see the renewable energy class. So that's always exciting to see the students in motion. Today, I'll just give a presentation on some of the services that we offer at Elevate, as well as some of the job opportunities that we have available. Next slide, please. Our mission, I just wanted to highlight that we design and implement programs that reduce costs, protect people and the environment, and ensure benefits of the clean and efficient energy use reaches those who need it most. So I always like to start with our mission and what we do and why it's so important. We prepare individuals for dynamic careers and businesses for growth. You'll hear a little bit more about that later in my presentation related to solar, our solar energy training course, as well as our contractor accelerator. Part of this work is also to just create ongoing pathways for this work. So one of our partners, which is Sacred Foundation, is also present today to just kind of give an overview of some of what the work on their end looks like. When we talk about diverse contractors and entrepreneurs and small business owners, we talk about the Contractor Accelerator, which engages businesses that are a minimum of 2 years in age. We provide access to that clean energy economy for communities that have been traditionally left out as well. Next slide, please. Just wanted to give like an overview of some of our services. So as you can see that community-based workforce and small business development, that kind of goes into working with community-based organizations as well as small businesses around Contractor Accelerator, as well as community residents as it relates to solar trainees. Equity-focused program design and development. We want to be intentional about the services that we are actually putting in front of communities, and how to not that they're just there, but how we're actually creating access. And what that actually looks like when an individual is looking to enroll. Thought leadership, we provide advisory and around some of this work, and just again, what are the happenings and learnings and barriers and challenges that we're facing at the ground level. And we do share our knowledge around the workforce program delivery. And again, that's working with some community-based organizations like Safer Foundation that is currently on the call. And all of this work always aligns back to our policy education. Just how are we taking our learnings, going over to the policy side to influence some of the work and just making sure that communities that are normally just maybe there's disinvestment or lack of investment, that we're intentional about engaging what those needs are. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, our solar jobs training program, inside of that, our students receive 40 hours of classroom training, 20 hours of hands-on solar PV system installation. They prep for the NABCEP certification, and they receive critical wraparound services. And those support services are tutoring, transportation, job placement, and one that's of my favorite, again, is that NABCEP prep. Individuals actually going through our solar training program do qualify for Illinois Solar for All as well. So once they complete, we just kind of send over the information and resumes to some of the approved vendors that are on the Illinois Solar for All side of the house. Next slide, please. Contractor Accelerator. As I mentioned earlier on the call, I talked about how we are assisting businesses that are at least a minimum of 2 years in age, and they are usually minority owned businesses that are looking or preparing for growth in the energy efficient and efficiency in solar space in the Chicago region. It also brings together a group of entrepreneurs and small business owners, and we think about ways and just the equitable, just thinking about how can we continue to be inclusive, and then again, taking those learnings, applying them to next phases of work, but also it influences some of our policy. From the Contractor Accelerator, qualifying job training programs for Illinois Solar for All as well. So all of this aligns back to students, growing businesses, as well as just access to additional certifications and programs. Next slide, please. As you know, the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, CEJA, just recently passed. And so I just want to highlight a few things from there. I just won't go through each point, but happy to kind of share some information after the presentation as it relates to Bill SB 2408. And so it just builds an equitable clean energy future for all. It holds utilities accountable, ensures affordable energy bills, and expands consumer protection. Coal to solar and transitioning fossil communities and workers, and creates and protects good paying carbon-free jobs. So a lot of the work that we're doing right now in the solar space and go into supporting some of these things is truly amazing. And I will make sure that I'm sharing out a fact sheet as well as a bill analysis at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Part of this work that we've been doing, and as well with IGEN, who is currently on the call, is just thinking about how we're actually aligning a space such as Job Club with students. Like, how are we really getting the word out about what are the opportunities available? What are some barriers that students are facing kind of getting into the solar industry? What are some trainings, additional trainings or advanced career pathways that are needed to that students will need to access to be successful in this space? So Job Club really just provides that space for students to kind of share back, hey, this is what's happening. Hey, my company is hiring. Hey, this is my experience in working with a particular program. So this is currently still being built out, but we're really working hard to really just dive into this in the near future, I should say. Next slide, okay. The good stuff, employment opportunities that elevate. And we always want to make sure that we're highlighting that our students that come from our training programs, they typically don't always go into our solar, but they come on our side of the house and really do some of that policy, that advocacy, that as well as that outreach, and maybe working with our construction team or marketing side of the house. So here are 9 opportunities that are currently available. And if you visit our website, you can get more in-depth descriptions on what they entail. So I always say when you have solar, it really helps when you're thinking about like associate in marketing and things of that nature. We just recently, I should say, hired someone from our solar training program, and he's the senior associate of our outreach team, I should say. So please go to our website and check out these opportunities. And if I'm not mistaken, there may be more than just 9 at this time. So please feel free to do that. Next slide. So while this slide says Janine Adi, I want to say that again, I am Shalandra Brooks. I am the program manager for the workforce team at Elevate. I'm going to drop my contact information in the chat so that if you have any additional questions outside of the presentation today, you should feel free to connect with me directly. Thank you again, Daniel, and everyone on the call, and I'll shoot it back over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation, Shalandra. And again, I want to encourage the folks that are on the call, if you do have any questions for Shalandra regarding any opportunities at Elevate or any questions for any of our presenters today for that matter, don't hesitate to throw your questions into the chat. And once we get to the end of all our presentations, we'll obviously have a Q&A session where you can get those questions answered. Thank you so much, Shalandra. Our next presenter will be Ellen with MREA. Ellen, are you available to present?
I am.
Excellent.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ellen Barlas, and I am the Solar Workforce Manager for the Midwest Renewable Energy Association. We are an organization headquarters in Custer, Wisconsin, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you for inviting me. Could I have my next slide, please? Just a little bit of history about the MREA. We were established in 1990, so we are a little more than 30 years old. And we're a nonprofit educational organization, meaning that most of what we do has to do with training. As I said, our headquarters are in Custer, Wisconsin. If you look at the slide on the left side is a picture of our campus in Custer. Lots of people have heard of the MREA because of our energy fair. That happens every June, once a year, and we have thousands of people come. There's a picture of it, an aerial shot of the energy fair on the right side there. Anyway, we also have an office in Milwaukee, and we do trainings all over the Midwest. And our mission is to promote renewable energy, energy efficiency, and sustainable living through education and demonstration. Next slide, please. We offer training in 3 different formats. So we have in-person training, and we do that training either at one of our campuses, primarily up in Custer, or we can do in-person training almost anywhere. So we are completely mobile. We have mobile training labs and instructors that can provide training, and we have all over the Midwest. We provide independent study, meaning that if there's a subject that a person or a group is interested in that's not part of our regular training offerings, we can design training to meet the needs of whatever group is interested. And we also provide online training. Our online training is instructor-led, meaning that we provide live Zoom sessions along with our pre-recorded instruction and live office hours. So it's not just log in, do the work and leave. Our training team is real involved with our online training. And this slide just shows kind of a picture of our training platform, and you can find that at midwestrenew.org/training. And so it's real easy to find and real clearly defined what we have to offer. Next slide, please. We offer just about 20 courses, and the reason that that's not defined there is because we offer courses sometimes, like I said before, to people who are interested in a subject that we haven't necessarily, that we're not necessarily offering a standardized training for. but just about 20 courses in solar PV, wind energy, and general renewable energy. Our training is all aligned with the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, or NABCEP. So NABCEP is kind of the governing body for the solar industry training. And the most popular training we offer is training for the NABCEP PV Associates program, although we do provide training for more advanced NABCEP certifications. And if you're interested in what NABCEP is and why it's important, you can go to nabcep.org and learn about what that means and why it's important. Next slide. The PV Associate credential is the credential that I was speaking of. This is the most common thing that people come to the MREA for. The NABCEP Associate is a credential offered by NABCEP, and so we provide training that's aligned with their requirements. And it's basically 3 classes: basic PV, PV site assessment, and PV system design. And once a person successfully completes those classes, they're eligible to take the PV Associate exam. And if you pass it, then you are recognized as having earned that credential. And what that credential does is it qualifies a person to design, sell, install, or maintain PV systems under supervision. So it's an entry-level credential that says, that you've had training that meets the standards of NABCEP, and you're ready to go in the solar industry. Next slide, please. Another exciting thing that we've developed at the MREA is a website called solarenergy.jobs. This is an interactive website that we launched the end of 2020. It provides all kinds of training resources. Ours and community and technical college partners who have partnered with us have links on that website back to their training. We also have an interactive job board where employers who are seeking workers can post on the job board, and people seeking jobs in the renewable energy industry can go there and link right back to open jobs. And this is just an example of a job that was recently posted on our website. We have people posting jobs every day, and it's free. So that's another thing that I like to mention. So employers don't have to pay to enter jobs on the job board. And it is all over the Midwest. Next slide, please. So thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Ellen Barlas, and this is my contact information. If anybody is interested in learning more about MREA training, about NABCEP credentials or certification, or about any of the initiatives that we've got going in terms of workforce development, please contact me. I'm happy to answer questions. And thank you for having me.
Ellen, thank you. Daniel, I'd like to jump in for just a moment, please. I would like to make it very clear with everybody, we are in the Chicagoland area looking at employment opportunities in Chicago. While MREA, as they indicated, is a Custer, Wisconsin company, you will hear from them again. They do have opportunities for employment on their resource board. And you will hear later on where they do have them in the Chicagoland. So yeah, stay tuned.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ellen. And thank you, Bill, for clarification there as well. And again, for the folks that just joined us, if you do have any questions for our presenters today, please feel free to throw those into the chat. And we'll get those answered for you during the Q&A portion of the presentation that will be taking place after all of our presenters have presented. Thank you again, Ellen. Our next presenter will be the New Growth Group. Patrick and/or Casey, are you available to present?
Sure am.
Excellent. You can begin whenever you're ready, Pat.
All right. So I'm going to start off by sharing my slides in the chat, so if you want to download them, you're certainly welcome to do that. But my name is Patrick Britton. I'm a project manager for the New Growth Group. We are a workforce development company focused on projects throughout the United States. You can see our little map. We're in 22 states and growing. It should be 23. I can see one that we're doing that isn't listed on there. But what we do is project management, research, grant writing, evaluation, all manner of different elements of helping connect people to the workforce system. We are working with IGEN and the Illinois, which obviously is the Illinois Green Economy Network, but to promote the building and connecting around a renewable energy workforce in Illinois. So if you would go to the next slide for me. All right, so you're going to see a lot of graphs in the next couple of slides. And what I want you to take away is not so much the specifics of them, but rather this overall point that the renewable energy sector is growing frankly, by leaps and bounds. And so I want to show you some of the evidence of that. But so you'll start to see it here. This first graph, for example, you can see that this is projected electricity generated throughout the world in 2050, and the green bars are the ones that are the renewables. So it's not exactly true that everything else stays flat, but it mostly stays flat, and renewables is what is going to fuel our future, so to speak. So you can go to the next. But here in the United States, we are also seeing that just the major growth in energy capacity. So power plants that have more capacity in the United States, it's almost all renewables. These are planned capacity additions. So when someone builds a new facility or is able to make their current facilities more efficient, what you basically are seeing is that the majority of these plants are coming from wind and solar projects. Go to the next slide for me. Now in Illinois, I want you to see here how power is consumed. So this is less about who individually is using energy and power, but what the source of the power is. And right now, only 7.4% of power being consumed in Illinois comes from renewables. You can see the spread throughout. Nuclear and coal make up the majority. And I think certainly it feels like that's got to change from my perspective. I have two small children who, I want them to have the brightest future possible. So it feels to me like that needs to change. And so the state government also knows that, right? So you heard a little bit before about the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act that was just passed through the legislature and signed by the governor. And I think the key in that bill is that it moves to a goal of statewide energy moving from 7.4% of renewables up to about 40% over the next, I guess, more than just a few years, but certainly over the next few years. Everything I'm seeing, reading, hearing is that the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act is probably the best in the nation. And I certainly have every expectation that it will move Illinois from pretty much in the upper half of what's happening around the country into sort of the very top 3 or 4 producers of renewable energy, but also consumers and really just the whole, frankly, the whole spectrum from installers of solar to the banks that support it. Everyone's going to want more from Illinois after that act was passed. And that doesn't even get to the federal bills, which we expect from the Biden administration's Build Back Better bill, or even through the budget reconciliation bill, whatever they end up calling it, and the infrastructure bill. Both of them have a lot of money carved out for renewable energy. Some of it is in the form of incentives, some of it's tax credits. There's even a tax credit proposed in one of those for the purchase of electric bikes. So basically, we expect to see quite a lot of activity happening around renewable energy, especially on a national scale. So if you go to the next slide. So this is a harder to see graph, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to share with you these slides. This is a map that comes from the US Energy Atlas, which is a pretty neat little tool, but it shows renewable power in sort of the what I would call the Illinois plus area. So I tried to keep it to the areas most directly around Illinois. So you can see it goes into Indiana. Basically, what I see when I look at this map is potential, and I see growth potential. So these are all the power plants that generate power of any kind in Illinois that is renewable, right? So the darker gray are wind installations, the blue are hydroelectric, and the yellow are solar. I fully expect this map to just pop with a lot of additional installations as these credits get ramped up more and over the next couple of years. If you could go to the next slide for me. I cut that map in half to show you what it looks like in the sort of Chicagoland area, just to get a sense of where it's at. And you can see I did leave Gary, Indiana, obviously in there. But this is what we're hoping to see more of, right? That these are going to expand. These are large scale programs. So if you go to the next slide for me. So after you look at those sort of bigger picture about generation and capacity, I pulled these as a couple of maps specifically looking at the solar companies in Illinois and Chicago and St. Louis, obviously. These, as I said, these are solar companies, but there are a lot, right? You can see this Chicago map. There are a lot throughout the state. There are more. And what you see is these are installers. They're manufacturers, they're project management firms, engineering firms, banks. It's pretty much everyone across the supply chain in solar. And again, based on what we're seeing, this is going to explode with activity in the next few years. And go to the next one. So skipping from the companies and from the state level and the policy to the jobs. So this is from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. And basically the projections of new jobs in sort of vaguely green jobs terms, it's among the top 5 or 6 projected job growth areas, right? So they're seeing it across the board. We're looking from scientists at the bottom and technicians to photovoltaic installers at the top. Renewable jobs are just growing pretty much across the board. Go to the next slide for me. So in addition to job growth, we also are seeing job posting growth, right? So the difference between a job and a job posting is you can have that posting multiple months and the job maybe only fills once or fills a couple times throughout the process. But what you'll see here is, again, this is solar job postings from September of 2016 through September of 2020. And again, it's not important to see the specifics of what these numbers are, but rather to see the trend. In 2016, in September, the job postings, there were about 200. And in September of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, it was about 800, right? So we're seeing lots of growth. This is all relative to the fact that this is before that Climate and Jobs Act and Equitable Jobs Act was passed. So again, we would expect to see even more of those going forward. Next slide, please. So again, looking even more closely, this is solar photovoltaic installer jobs from 2016 projected through 2025, specifically in Illinois. One of the reasons I had to pull PV installer jobs is because it's one of the bigger categories of jobs. So I couldn't pull like solar photovoltaic engineer jobs because there's only a handful of those. So they don't share that kind of data. But from here, what you can see is we expect there to be about 50 new PV installer job openings annually. And that was before this Jobs Act, the Equitable Jobs Act, was passed. So again, the point to look at here is not what these exact numbers are, but to see that the trend is going up and up. And we're also hearing from employers that they're having a hard time keeping up with demand, that they're used to have to go out of state to make sure that they had enough demand to survive in their business. And now, they only need to go 100 or 200 miles around to fill their pipeline of deals. So we're seeing hiring, booking of projects, and jobs all over the place. So if you go to that last slide, what I want you to ultimately take away here from what I'm saying as sort of the third party outside person is that renewable energy's future is bright. You'll have to forgive my my great joke, but my two delightful children who are upstairs firmly looking at their iPads is that you know, they don't let me make stupid dad jokes anymore, so I have to make them here for you professionally. What you can see in this particular slide, though, as you do look at it, this is from a report that came out of a government lab and a federal government lab. And basically what you're seeing is on the far left, in the near term, this is sort of where we're at now and in the near future. And this is how much capacity are different, this is nationally, how much of our capacity is different kinds of energy, right? So nuclear, coal, gas, et cetera. The renewables, which I would encourage you mostly to look at the dark blue and the yellow, is pretty standard there. Now the next box, or I'm sorry, the next bar over is business as usual in 2050. So if we keep doing what we're currently doing, this is what you would expect that to look like. And you can see it increases for both wind and solar. Now, if we go to a more aggressive process where we do a little bit more to try to, that's that middle box or middle bar, it's a lot more solar and a lot more wind. And if we choose to constrain ourselves with CO2 targets, if we say, okay, we only want to have a certain percentage, then that's the fourth bar from the left. And if we really try to do a lot to make sure that we are addressing climate issues, that's that final bar on the far right. It's a rapid attempt to get it to electrification of the entire energy grid, I suppose, as quickly as we can. And by 2050, what that would mean is pretty much the phase out of all coal, almost all nuclear, but for a small amount. And that means tons more opportunity for wind and solar. So again, the takeaway here is don't care specifically about each of those smaller graphs. Take care about the fact that you're absolutely in the right industry and it is growing and we expect it to grow. And you know, the future's bright. So thank you all very much.
Patrick, thank you. I just want to add to that while New Growth Group as an advisory member is in Cleveland, Ohio, their information is throughout the state of Illinois. They have been retained to specifically look at Illinois with legislation, with growth opportunity, and that information is clearly supported. So as you walk away, and father figure jokes acknowledged, not dad jokes, they're very much a front runner in the analysis. So if you're hearing things where solar isn't growing, wind isn't growing, that isn't growing, that is very incorrect. So don't let anybody tell you you are on a bad career path. That's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Patrick and Bill for that. And again, as I've been stating, if you do have any questions for our presenters today, throw them into the chat. And when we get to the Q&A portion of the event, of course, we will be sure to get your questions answered. Thank you so much, Patrick. Our next presenter will be Straight Up Solar. Heidi, are you available to present?
Of course, I'm here.
Excellent. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Thanks. Well, I'm really excited to be part of this event today. Straight Up Solar is a solar installer, and we have a headquarters in St. Louis and a satellite office in Bloomington Normal. And I get it, you all are in Chicago. So what I want to tell you is this presentation is a little bit different than the ones you've heard before. It can be kind of generic and guide you and help you with some of your skills to get the job, to land the job. So it's not specific to St. Louis or Bloomington. That being said, we are hiring and we are always looking for people that want to work out of our Bloomington Normal office and grow with that team. We have a growing office there in downtown Bloomington. We work within a 3-hour radius of St. Louis, which includes, you know, some of the suburbs of Chicago sometimes, and we do partner with other solar integrators in the Chicagoland area. So, and I'm a big fan of Chicago, just saying that. Love the city. So here I am in St. Louis right now, but just keep in mind that as we go through these slides, there's going to be something in here for you. So hopefully you're taking notes. Okay, so who is Straight Up Solar? Well, We're a great place to work. We're a solar integrator headquartered in St. Louis. My name is Heidi Shane. I am the Director of Employee Experience. It's kind of a silly title, but what it means is I work in HR and I do business operations. I'll tell you a little bit more about Straight Up Solar later, but we are really proud that we got the top places to work, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. We did not apply for this. Our employees filled out a questionnaire. 2 years in a row, we won. And we're really proud of that. It means that we have a really strong culture at Straight Up Solar. It's like a work family. We 90 strong work family. And I can tell you, I know each person that works at Straight Up Solar, and they're individual and they bring some great stuff to the team, each one of them in different ways. Next slide, please. Okay, here's the proof that we won this year. That's it. I just wanted you to see it. We're really proud of it. Okay, next slide. Okay, so when you're looking at types of positions within solar, this is not specific to Straight Up Solar necessarily. I think if there's a solar integrator that you're going to apply for, these are some of the positions that you're going to find on their Help Wanted page. Just know that just because, and this is a tip from Heidi, there's going to be a lot of them, so take note. So just because a position is not advertised, as long as you qualify for it, reaching out to the employer and saying, and knowing more about them, reading up on their website, Googling them, understanding the kind of culture they have, reach out to them and say, I've always wanted to do technical on-site, for example. I think that's, a really cool job. I'd like to learn more. I'm willing to get my foot in the door with installation position. Don't be afraid to show them that you're interested in growing within a position. And just because they're not advertising doesn't mean they weren't planning on doing it next week. And having your foot in the door with that resume is really important, okay? So look at all the jobs that you could get working for a solar company. Next slide. Okay, so what do we look for? And it's not just us. I think any business this is gonna be transferable to anywhere you look for a job. So they want to see that you have a passion for working in the solar industry or any job that you get. You want to be able to explain your story. And even if it's, hey, I wasn't focused and now I am, and I really enjoyed my classes learning about solar, that's great. Just kind of do some introspection, kind of ask yourself, what is the reason that you're interested in this job? And if it's just for a paycheck, dig a little deeper, right? Because I think employers really want to understand your passion or drive for getting the job done well. If you have construction experience, this is really important to relay, not just work experience, but for example, if you helped your uncle replace shingles on his business or his garage for 2 summers in a row, that's okay. That's skills that you have, and it's valuable. So don't forget to mention volunteer work that you have. If you volunteered for Habitat for Humanity, and also look for those volunteer positions too. Not positions, but opportunities, because they're the same thing. Work experience, volunteer experience. You still, knew how to use a hand tool, for example. Those are demonstrating competencies. You need to understand that. But we do need people to have reliable transportation. You need to be able to get to work each day. In the solar industry, we don't just show up to the same place every day. Our installers are going, now sometimes they'll show up to one location and ride with people, but with COVID, there's been more of a you get yourself to the job site policy. That's always changing and can change. The other part is, can our insurance cover you? Any employer is going to need to add you to their insurance as a driver if you're driving their fleet. Just know that your personal, how you drive in your personal life affects your insurability with an employer, because they're going to run possibly a check of your motor vehicle records check. And if you're uninsurable, you might be unemployable for that employer. If, that could happen. Ability to travel out of town. I really wanted to talk about this because what I've learned is there's different kinds of solar companies. Some are all traveling jobs and they keep you out of town all the time. This is not Straight Up Solar. We work within a 3-hour radius of St. Louis, and we have, like I said, Bloomington office. So if you are the ability to go out of town, like to Carbondale or some for a week, we get you home on the weekends and we don't keep you out all month. It's just a reasonable amount of travel. But for example, if you coach basketball every Wednesday night and you cannot go out of town because you can't miss that, that's a little bit of an issue for at least our solar company, because that kind of ties us down, and we have jobs all over the state of Illinois. And sometimes they're 3-day jobs, sometimes they're 2-week jobs. I'll keep going. So you have to have the ability to work in heat and cold, right? We have I don't know about your weather in Chicago, but today in St. Louis, it's like amazing. So sometimes it's amazing and it's just wonderful, but sometimes it's cold. And sometimes it's warm, and you have to be able to work at heights. Those are things that I can't change the heat and cold. People can get used to heights. We have a female installer. I'm just saying female installer because I'm really proud that we have a female installer. In Bloomington, at first she was a little hesitant to get up on ladders. We worked with her. Now she's not. She's got a really cool story, by the way. But she came through workforce development programs. So super, super excited about this group of people in Chicago as well. And then you have to have the physical ability to do the work, right? To climb the ladders, to lift the panels, to kneel and bend and all that. We actually have our applicants go through, not applicants, candidates that we're offering go through a fit for duty exam. So all those solar installers out there that are listening, this is a really important thing to do. Make sure that people can do the job that they're hired to do, and also just be a partner with you. Athletico, I'll just put a shout out to them. They're all over the state. We really love their partnership with us. They don't just provide fit for duty exams, return to work as well. I can go into that later some other time, or just contact me offline. Next slide. I hope you're getting all this energy, because I really love the solar industry and I love my job. And I really want to help people find jobs in the solar industry. So what to expect when you're applying? Some of this is obvious, but I'll say it anyway. Make sure your resume is updated. I can really tell when somebody is just shooting resumes out and they're not customized. You have to customize your resumes. We notice. Doesn't mean you change the jobs. It just means that, like, the transferable skills that you list, some are more important than others. And like the use of hand tools, for example, you don't need to put on a resume that you're applying for a restaurant, but you do need to put it on for a solar job, right? And then if there are steps, we advertise on Indeed. All of our jobs are on our career page as well, but Indeed is the place that we encourage people to go. We assign assessments. Don't ignore those. We notice when the applicant doesn't complete them. It makes it an impression. And if we ask you to send a cover letter, even if you don't get asked to send a cover letter, send cover letters. And the cover letter should be your why. It should be your story, and don't be shy about sharing it. And then if you get invited to one of these virtual interviews, test out the technology first, be in a quiet space, don't have something distracting going on behind you, because it'll distract the people who are watching you and also you, and have your camera on. Those things really matter. And then just be willing to share your story, and don't be shy about saying, I'm a little nervous. I need a minute to think about this, to answer this question, but I'm really excited that I'm getting this interview. Fantastic. We just want people to be able to articulate and just tell their story. Okay, next slide, please. Hope you're all finding this, hope you're taking notes and finding this relevant. Okay, what's good to know? Obvious, but important to say again, timely communication. We notice when it's 2 weeks past, we ask you, hey, are you interested in an interview? And it's been 10 days since you replied. We kind of feel like maybe you're not that interested if you don't respond pretty quickly. And check your email. Email's kind of a bummer sometimes. I mean, there's a lot going on with email, but it's just a necessary thing you need to do to look for those responses from employers, because that's how we communicate with you normally. And then just know that depending on the position you apply for, there could be drug testing with prevailing wage jobs. That happens. We do some prevailing wage jobs, and that's a requirement. And we do run background checks. And we don't run credit checks. Like, that's not what we're talking about. It's just that it's just part of our standard operating procedures. And just know it's part of the process. But if you do have something that's on your record, don't, we're really said that twice, sorry, but I'm passionate about this part. We're very interested in the justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion part of our business. We want to have conversations with people about anything that's on their record, because just because there's something on your record does not mean you're not employable or interesting or valuable. Like, that's not even, just have to have a conversation about it. And some of the things are just none of our business, frankly, but some things we have to talk about. And then I already talked about fit for duty exams. That is already been covered. So next slide, please. Okay, so I saved the commercial for the end of the slides. Who are we? Who am I? Well, Straight Up Solar has been around for a long time, 15 years. This is a little outdated, but we do serve Illinois and Missouri. We are closer to 2,000 installations now with about 90 employees, and about half of us roughly have NABCEP certification. I know Ellen was talking about the NABCEP, very important. It's something that makes you stand out. And it's MREA is just, I think they are amazing. Not just because we won group I programs, but frankly, just I've gone through the NABCEP associates. I know that program is solid, and you learn so much. There's just invaluable. And if you ever get to go to the Energy Fair in Wisconsin, do it. It's so much fun. We're a certified B Corporation. What does that mean? Well, it means that we care about planet, people, and profit. We're not just here to make money. We're really concerned about the climate crisis. We are here to make a difference, to make the world a better place. So it's not about just making money. It's about saving the planet and building a really beautiful place to work where people get joy out of their work. And we want to be employee owned someday. That's not on there, but we're working towards it, to being an employee owned cooperative. We're part of a solar cooperative. That's a big deal, but I won't go into it. And we have a 10-year workmanship warranty and production warranty, which means when we sell a system, we have to provide a workmanship guarantee for that. And also, if it says that it's going to produce energy for your home, then we have to back that up with either a check at the end of the year or figure out what went wrong. So we do energy audits all the time on our own systems. Okay, next slide, please. I'm a fast talker. I hope you guys are fast listeners. So anyway, when you're looking for a job, it's not just about the paycheck, it's about the benefits. So definitely you want to dig into like asking really good questions during the interview about the benefits package, and do not be shy about asking them for a benefits summary before you accept an offer, because you really want to know like what it is and you want to see it in writing. Okay, so you can read this for yourself. Just know that we have profit sharing and we have volunteer time off. That's our group down there doing a trash pickup as like a clean stream thing. That's our team on the top, just at headquarters. We have a lot of good, you can read it for yourself, paid life insurance. We have a 401k match, it's 4%, that's fully vested immediately. That's a big deal too, but I won't go into it. Just know the benefits are important and look for a good benefits package no matter where you land. Okay, next slide. How to apply? Well, like I said before, go on Indeed, go on our jobs page. Don't forget to send a cover letter to, wherever you can find the best person. Go on the internet, go on their website and figure out like who that human resources person is. Send them a cover letter or your resume. Remind them like, hey, I applied on your careers page. I applied on Indeed. This is why I really want to work for you. I'm great. Here's why. This is my contact information. You can easily Google me. Next slide. I think that might be it. Is it? Yep, that's it. I really enjoyed our time together. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Thank you for all that great information, Heidi. That was put together really well about the different possibilities and things that they may definitely come in and find with any company, it sounds like. Awesome.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that presentation, Heidi. And again, I just want to reiterate, if you do have any questions that you'd like answered from any of our presenters today, don't hesitate to throw your questions into the chat. And of course, We'll be sure to get them answered once we get to the end of our presentations. Heidi, thank you again. Our next presenter will be the Safer Foundation. Lisa, are you available to present?
Yes, hi.
Hello.
I'm here. My name is Lisa Brackett, and I am the account executive. Basically manage the construction trades program in which our renewable energy and solar programs fall under. So a little bit about safe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Lisa, you keep cutting out periodically.
Oh, am I breaking up? Next slide. Great. So Safer Foundation, our mission is to work with people who are justice involved or have had some barriers to finding employment after incarceration. So our work involves education, training, specializing in workforce development, transitional and permanent housing, and transitional and permanent employment opportunities. We have 3 social enterprises, and we also have a program that centers around health and wellness and mental health. Also, we have a policy and advocacy department. Also do community corrections. It is in our mission. Next slide. So we work with people, as I stated, to their involvement with the criminal justice system and to reduce barriers. Would be centered around education, occupational licensing, housing, public and private, employment opportunities, reducing debt, and parental rights, voting, and public benefits. Next slide. SAFER has a large policy and advocacy department in which we try to remove barriers to employment with people with criminal justice records or who have been involved in the criminal justice system. We have been instrumental in changing some of the licensing regulations in healthcare and also to help people to obtain licenses with the Illinois Department of Regulations and Public Health. Next slide. We educate our clients. We want them to know their rights. We want them to know what legal remedies are available to them. And we also provide them with the resources in order to be re-entered and be successful in a transition. Next slide. So my department, as I mentioned before, it is a part of SAFER Foundation and it's called the SAFER Demand Skills Collaborative. Next slide. What we do in the collaborative is we are an employer-driven initiative. We provide vocational industrial recognized training that leads to credentialing. It's very sector specific, and it's centered around what will get them with stackable credentials to the next level in that particular sector. Pathway and oriented employment for those who already have credentialing or licensing. Next slide. So in our transportation, distribution, and logistics is another area, but the main area today is our construction trades program, in which we have the ability to offer several training opportunities in either carpentry, electrical, or some of the union trades, and we will help to transition our clients into either state DOL recognized apprenticeships or either union level apprenticeships. Next slide. I think I've covered that. Vocational training, we offer a basic carpentry class, we offer a basic electrical class, and then we also currently have a We also have our own social enterprise that functions as a mid-level construction company. It's called Reconstruction at RTP. We provide basic and general contractor service, residential and mid-commercial size projects. And so with this social enterprise, we are able to hire SAFER Foundation's clients that have gone through some of our vocational training programs or who have obtained certificates, or newly recognized folks that are going into the union that are union card holders. Next slide. Okay, so currently, I also have a full service workforce development department in which we house 10, I guess you call them job developers. We call them sector managers, and in the community to provide employment to our safer clients. So right now I have openings for an experienced carpenter. It's a non-union position. You do need to have 2 years or more of carpentry experience or basic construction experience. I'm also looking for a credentialed CDL driver, commercial driver's license holder that is able to drive for a solar company. We are looking for a logistics clerk. That's a warehouse in which they would be doing basic forklift and logistics work in a warehouse. And then a general warehouse worker. So if you have any questions about these positions, next slide. There's my contact information. I'd be more than happy to talk to you in detail about how Safer Foundation can help you with your employment search or how we can help you with vocational training. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you. This is a good outreach. This is also something that those of you that are in the solar construction programs need to be aware of. Even though we are focused on solar, whether it's PV, thermal, or wherever that's at, these are opportunities to get yourself employed. So do not look at them and simply go, yeah, okay, here's another opportunity. This is real. If you're looking for a job, these are great opportunities. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that presentation, Lisa. And again, just want to reiterate, and I do see we did get a question in the chat, but we'll answer that at the end of our presentations. But again, want to encourage you all, if you do have questions, enter them into the chat. And of course, we'll be sure to get them answered at the end of our presentations. Next up, we will have Simpleray and Bill. I do believe you'll be presenting in place of the Simpleray rep, who unfortunately was unable to join today.
We're going to give it a go. Simpleray, and actually you can go to the next slide. Simpleray has been around since 2008. They are a company focused on agriculture, residential, commercial, and utility scale solar installations. The very first picture that you did see with them, my screen is froze. Hang on just a moment. I'm going to close it down. That is actually pedigree ovens with the dog bone in the paw. That's a 1.7 megawatt commercial array. And they, Simpleray is a company that focuses on photovoltaics. They do everything from what you see with the dog bone, being creative there, from design to sourcing to the actual installation. They are a company that has done commercial arrays for like a Luma tank, 443 kilowatts, larger programs, the pedigree program. They've done agricultural, Larson Farms, and that's a 199.4 kilowatt. And those are Silvis, Illinois, Maple Park, Illinois, Harvard, Illinois. And so they are a company that really focuses in the Illinois region with some larger scale projects. They're also a company that goes into Iowa, whether it's Des Moines, Iowa, and let's see some of the other ones that they have. I'm trying to go through quickly. Ottumwa, Iowa. Those of you remember Radar O'Reilly, Ottumwa, Iowa. Oskaloosa, and all the way down to Unionville, Missouri. So they are a company that is very diverse, again, agriculturally, commercially, and residential. And if you want to go ahead and switch to the next one, we'll see what we can go to. That was an internal thing they had going on. They do treat their employees as family, and they do have internal events where they do the cultural experiences with the employees. Again, this is really loose. This is all their kind of personal things. Biggest thing I wanted to walk away with this on is they are a big company, 2008 regional. They are located in Peoria, Illinois. You can go to the next slide. They are in Peoria, Illinois. They also do O&M, so they do maintenance. And you can go to the next slide. This one happened to be about marketing and it's design and development, internal. It's really hard to read with the white on white, but they are a company, again, that has all the depth of roles. So it's not just, I'm going to be an installer on a rack with modules. You can go to the next one. So where do you look for them? Simpleray.com/careers. I know if you're sitting there at your laptop and you go to that particular website with that page, you're going to find it's not available, which is a bad thing. So I would prefer that be updated. We need to work on that. You can Google Simpleray. You can get much more of the information about them. They do have careers open. They're a very diverse company with the roles and career paths that they have. So other than that, I can't give you a whole lot of information on Simpleray other than knowing that they focus agricultural, commercial, residential, and utility scale. Peoria, Illinois. Go to the website, take a look at them. That's about all I can put out there for them right now.
Excellent. Thank you so much for filling in for them, Bill. I know that obviously when you're not actually a rep on behalf of the employer, that can be a little bit difficult, but again, thank you for filling in and obviously presenting that information, to the folks that are on the call. So thank you very much. Our next presenter will be Ailey Solar. Jack, I see you're on the line. Are you available to present, sir?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, so Ailey Solar we are a solar installation company based on the south side of Chicago, McKinley Park neighborhood. We've been installing solar for 9 years. I'm one of the founders of it, obviously. I have a Chicago electrical license as well as the PV installation certification from NABCEP, as does my majority partner, Dorian Brewer, also has the NABCEP certification. We do mostly residential installations. We do not claim to be as big a company as Straight Up Solar or Simpleray, but we do pride ourselves in doing right by our employees and by doing quality installation work. I will type in my contact information. Sending an email to info@aileysolar.com will also work, but you could also just email me. We are looking for some installers. As it may have been mentioned to you that this energy bill has now passed the Illinois House, so we're expecting the solar hiring. All of our companies are going to be hiring more people now because the work is going to increase dramatically. Actually, I would like to echo some of the comments that Heidi raised from Straight Up Solar in terms of the progress in the in your opportunities that exist in the solar industry. You can pretty much go up as far as you want. We are particularly looking for people that want to get on roofs and install solar on people's roofs. It is not a job for everybody, as has been made clear. You are working in the heat, you are working in the cold, you are working high up. We do insist on totally operating safely. We have the proper harnesses and safety lines and so forth, so that you can work safely. We pride ourselves in doing quite well in terms of not having accidents. We do insist, like I say, we insist that people take the proper safety precautions on roofs. Once you're working on a roof for a period of time, some people tend to get a little lax in terms of following all the safety procedures that you're supposed to, but that's very dangerous, and we don't want to see that. We offer an escalating scale of pay and benefits. We don't necessarily start people at a really high rate of pay if you don't have experience, but we are looking for people that are willing to work and want. We feel that solar is something that's necessary for the planet. That's a good part of the reason why I got involved in this. It's a good career. It does benefit the individuals who put solar on their roof. They save money. The solar electric systems are going to last them 25 years at least, and way before that they will have recouped all the money that they put into installing solar. We try to be, we have every intention of keeping this company around for a really long time. Obviously, I'm not going to be around in the active role that I have now for that period of time, but we have very capable younger people that are carrying the ball for a lot of the work that we do. And we're in it, like I say, for the long haul. We have adapted to the ups and downs of the solar industry over the period of time that we've been working, and we fully expect to continue to do that. As I say, we do most of our work is residential, but we also have done commercial scale jobs, and there's every reason to think that that part of the business is going to continue to expand. We do maintenance work on existing solar arrays. When customers who have installed solar with a company that is no longer in business need to take the solar array off so that they can re-roof, we do that. We take the system off and put it back on. We're quite flexible in that. And all of the jobs that Heidi mentioned are also available on a somewhat smaller scale in our company. Feel free to call me or email me. We do like to see people's resumes. We do have a hiring process where we mostly actually do interviews in person. But like I say, our office and warehouse is down on Pershing Avenue in Chicago, Pershing Road and Damon. So we like people to come by there and see what we've got and talk to us. We're, like I say, looking for some installers, and we're looking for some, we could use people that have some electrical skills. I think that's probably the overview. We've probably installed about 300 systems so far in our company's history. And we think we are attempting to make our workplace a very positive experience for people. So I don't have a lot more to add to that. We'll go on to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for participating, Jack. This is Dana. I know we've talked as we're preparing for today. So thank you for coming on to share your opportunities with your company. And John had asked for us to reach out to you in the very beginning. So I really do appreciate you being on and sharing the info.
I would like to add to that. Mr. Ailey, thank you for participating, but I would like to make it very clear to everybody listening in the job search career path world. We've had straight up solar, Midwestern company, multi-locations, many different career paths. Simpleray, which really I didn't do a very good job on, but again, a very large company, many career paths, design, engineering, all of that kind of stuff. You know, don't overlook the companies like Jack has. While they're not the big players, multi-state, across the United States companies, they're a great place to get experience. They're a great place to learn. And being right there in Chicago, you really couldn't ask for much more if you have somebody willing to bring you on, help train you. You know, we talked about NABCEP certifications for some of the other roles. You know, again, as a third party credentialing, NABCEP is wonderful. It's recognized throughout the United States. But I really didn't hear that word come out of Jack's mouth saying that this is an absolute requirement as employment. So don't overlook these kinds of companies. They are very viable to get your career started, and they can help you grow. But Jack, thank you for being here. And once again, Daniel.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jack, for presenting. And then, of course, Bill and Dana for adding those comments to that as well. Our next presenter is supposed to be Arch Electric. I know Ellen was going to say a few words in their place. I just have a placeholder slide here. I don't know, Ellen, are you on? I know she said she was having some internet issues. So
Yeah, I had seen that too in the chat. There was some connection issues. If Ellen isn't on, I believe she said that Arch Electric had openings for like a solar electrician.
Actually, I'll help you pick up here. There are some, what you need to do is if you go to the MREA job board that they have posted, Arch Electric is one of the companies that is posted in that job board. There are several openings in the Chicagoland area. They are about electricians. Some of them do require licensing and advanced skills. Doesn't mean you have to be an IBEW member, but it does mean you need to have the appropriate electrical background. So if you go to the MREA website, go to their job board, you will find information about Arch Electric. And again, these are openings that are in the Chicagoland area.
excellent. Thank you, Bill. And as you'll see there, I also included a direct link to Arch Electric's career website on that bullet point you see right there. So if you follow that link there as well, and you're interested to see their careers directly on their website, you can also do so as well. Our final presenter for today was supposed to be Winfrey. I did see Eric join the session several times and then drop off. Not sure if he was having some connection issues as well. But it does not appear that we have him on to present. I did create a placeholder slide for Winfrey though as well. So in his absence, again, you'll see there, I have included his contact information, his direct email, and then also a link to their website as well, where you can view all of the available careers that they have available. Bill, I'm not sure, do you want to say a few words about Winfrey? I'm not sure if you're more familiar with them than I.
I am not. I do not have a background for their submission.
Excellent. Well, again, as you can see there, there's a link to their website, and then of course, contact information if folks tuning in would like to explore career opportunities further with wind-free solar. So with that, we actually have reached the end of all of the presenters that we did have scheduled or slated to present today. Again, just want to encourage you, if you do have any questions before we begin the wrap up of today's session, please enter them into the chat. We've got a lot of great folks on here that have a ton of information about this industry and can help kind of guide you in the direct path that you need to go to enter that industry. We did receive one question that I see here, and I do believe this is going to be geared towards Sherlandra. This question is, how do you qualify for your training program? Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit, Sherlandra?
Absolutely. So there is a couple of things. So one of the things that we do ask is for an individual to attend an orientation session. From that orientation session, they will be given additional a checklist of documentation that is needed for the project. And we work with, like I said before, we work with a partner that actually collects that information, but they're also, once that documentation is submitted and everything looks good, we start to kind of go through the process of sending individuals through what we call a boot camp. And also that part of that boot camp is job readiness. So we just want to make sure that the same way that we want to make sure that there's a good fit for the program, that the program is a good fit for an individual at that time. And from the boot camp, they do interviews with our trainer. And then from there, we just kind of, and with the partners, I should say, not just the trainer, but other partners. And from there, we go through the selection process. Anyone that is not chosen for that project, we typically, depending on the reason, we typically will provide other additional resources for that. So that checklist is definitely around demographics, just making sure that there's like some identification and stuff like that that's submitted. And there is also some testing that is involved in that. That's the tape testing. So there's just a series of things that happen prior to an individual actually being brought on for training. And at one cohort, it includes at least, I believe, one cohort is 30 individuals at one, is a classroom of 30, up to 30. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the chat as well. I see from David Martinez, he asked about, does Elevate hire solar installers? At the time, earlier in my presentation, I talked about how we will refer your resumes over to Illinois Solar for our Illinois Solar for All team, who will actually kind of put you in a pot there. But we do work with a lot of employers and some employers that are on this call today and on previous calls to actually access employment opportunities. So part of this virtual job fairs is some of what we do to connecting to employers. Not a problem, David.
Excellent. Well, it does look like we have a little bit more engagement now in the chat. Again, if you do have any questions for any of our employers, please do not hesitate to throw your question in the chat. And as you can see, you are more than likely to get an answer. I see here as well, Heidi has made a clear distinction that you do not necessarily need a NABCEP certification to enter into the industry, but that it makes you more qualified and is recommended. And that straight up does help sponsor employees to go through the NABCEP each year. Looks like Ailey Solar also subsidizes training, I'm assuming for NABCEP as well. So thank you for that, Jack. And we did get a question here to the employers on the line from the renewable energy class. When do you think you'll be ramping up hiring? Can you give a rough approximation of that? You can either enter your response into the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself, if you're an employer, feel free to do so as well.
Daniel, I do have a little bit more information on Windfree quickly for the folks. They are located at 5022 West Foster in Chicago. They are they do focus on commercial, they do focus on agricultural, and they do focus on residential. They are also part of they are Tesla Powerwall certified installers. So I know a lot of the conversation within City College of Chicago has been with Tesla and some of the things that Tesla is doing. And the good thing about them is they are not only solar, but they are wind and they are energy storage. So it's a little bit more of a diverse company than some of them that we see that only focus on solar. So if your thought is a renewable energy path, they're certainly a good company to investigate and look at. If you want a career, they do have an opportunity on their website to look at careers, and they do have a contact page on their website if you'd like to go there and take a look at it. But again, it's not just solar, it is wind, it is also energy storage. 5022 West Foster in Chicago. A little bit more of an update.
Excellent. Thank you for that inclusion, Bill. Much appreciated. Again, just want to encourage you, if you do have any additional questions, throw those into the chat. We are obviously in the Q&A portion, so any questions that you do have, now would be a ideal or opportune time to get them answered. Looks like Heidi responded to the question. Looks like Jack also responded to the question as well. Not sure if we have any other employers that are hiring that would like to answer that as well. And that is, when do you expect hiring to ramp up in your industry or at your company, if you would? And we'll go ahead and make an additional call for any questions that we have. Let's see, does your sales positions have available commission pay structures? So for the companies that do offer sales positions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask or answer those questions if you would.
I'm just curious what that means. I mean, we do have, our sales have a base plus commission. That's how we operate. Maybe that answers your question.
Could you mind tell us a little bit about like what that base commission looks like for entry level?
I think that's something that you would have to get in, get closer to interviewing and talking about it. But it's a living wage as far as the base, but it does have there's a tiered structure for, you know, selling more, getting more commissions, but it's kind of a proprietary like recipe. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. But, yeah, you're welcome. But definitely, you know, getting an interview and asking those questions, it's a good time to do that after you sort of developed a little bit more of a relationship. I think that's just a little tip from I don't know if it's a pro tip, but it's a Heidi tip. Okay.
Yeah, let me add a little bit. Selling solar is quite a bit different from selling items in a 5 and dime or something like that. It's a very particular skill. Not everybody that thinks they can do it turns out that they can actually do it. It's a trick. I do not claim to be a very good salesperson myself. I have sold a couple of projects, but anyway, that's not my strong suit. And it does take a lot of experience to be able to do it properly, because you have to understand a lot about the ins and outs of designing solar for individuals' houses and understand what the customers are looking for. If you can do it properly, you know, you could make a very good living doing it. We also have pretty much basically a commission based system for our very small sales force. But, you know, we have been through a number of people that have tried to sell solar for us, and not all of them have been successful. It's something that you're going to have to try and see if you think you can do. And we try to give as much training as we possibly can to people, but it is definitely a very particular skill. That would be probably my main comment.
Hey, Jack, I just wanted to add on to that. Some paths to sales, though, would be, we've had installers actually go from being an installer to sales. We've had people that, we have a solar support specialist position, which is basically like a lead intake entry-level position. And they're in the sales department and they learn so much, and they can transition into sales too if they show aptitude. But I'd say that if you're coming from another industry, we've had a lot of success. This might be a little corny, but with car salespeople, because the price point for a car is about, let's just say $50,000, right? I mean, a nice car, right? So maybe $30,000, right? But solar, that's the price tag kind of for solar, right? For a, you know, a nice size residential system, right? Without all the tax credits and yada yada, right? So you have to know, you have to be tech savvy to be a salesperson. You're using a lot of spreadsheets, you're using a lot of tools. You have design support, but it's straight up solar. You know, you have to know a lot about, you know, demand side charges, like energy charges from utilities. It's very technical. So I say, you know, get good with Microsoft Office, and, you know, there's other programs that I could shout out, like Helioscope. There's others, Aurora. So there's technical software that we use as well. So there's paths. What I wanted to get across is there's paths, upward mobility as straight up solar into sales, but there's also lateral moves from outside where someone has proven that they can close, right? They can close a similar price tag item. It doesn't necessarily translate if they've sold like Verizon memberships or something, you know, like that's not enough of a price tag. And people just do really well when they are, our best salespeople are, well, have been doing it a really long time. You just never know if you have that kind of personality that can close and ask for the business. But if you are, then that could be a good path for you. All right, that's a lot. Sorry.
If I may, to that, Heidi and Jack, isn't one of the most important things in sales being able to talk to people and being able to relate? The vocabulary that you all use in solar, when we talk about megawatts and kilowatts and ROIs and all that stuff, don't we have to be able to take that and relate it to a consumer on a language that they can understand?
Definitely. Keeping it simple in some ways, helping people understand kind of some complex concepts. But sure, being friendly and relatable, and those are great traits to have for salespeople. Mm-hmm.
So the important thing, and why I wanted to drive that home with everybody, is when we have groups like Elevate and City Colleges of Chicago and Safer, you know, they're looking at not only trying to teach the hard skills, how do I do a rack, how do I install modules, how do I do DC, what is my AC interface? They're teaching all those things, but at the same time, they're teaching the soft skills. And it came up before: resume writing, cover letter writing, interview skills, and how to talk to people. So really, that's part of what needs to be done to get people employed and for people to be successful. So thank you to all those groups that do those things as well.
Excellent. Well, I want to give folks again another opportunity to enter any questions that they do have into the chat for our presenters today. Again, as you can see, you got a prime opportunity to get some really good information extracted from these folks before we close out the session here. So we will consider this perhaps maybe the last call for any questions that we do have. In the meantime, while we're waiting for those, Bill, Dana, I'm not sure if there's any sort of summary statements, concluding remarks, anything like that that you would like to share with folks before we again kind of begin the wrap-up portion of the event.
The only thing I would like to say again is thank you to everybody. We have had a cross section of companies that have been on the large side, on the small side, in downtown Chicago areas that are willing to open their doors to get you into a clean career path, safer foundation. If you have other issues that you need to deal with, you have a resource there. So really, when you walk away, you have a lot of the building blocks to go ahead and take the information that New Growth gave you. Growth in the state of Illinois. It's not just the state of Illinois. You look at straight up solar, it's Illinois, Missouri, and I'm sure, Heidi, you're in other regions as well. You look at Simpleray, it's Iowa, it's Illinois, it's Missouri. So don't sit there and go, I have to find it. I live in Chicago. I don't, by the way. I live in Chicago and I want a job within 15 miles of my home. That's not going to happen. And understand that groups like this, whether it's Straight Up, whether it's Jack, or whether, whomever it might be, they'll help you get there. But understand that as this is growing and the projections that are happening over the next 10 years by 2040, 2045, you have wonderful opportunity and you're in a very good place to learn it. So good luck. And for me, that's the last thing. Good luck. And thank you to everybody that's been here today.
Yeah, and I just want to add also a big good luck to all of the students that are on this event today. Good luck in applying. I hope this helped meeting with some of the employers and hearing from them. And thank you to all the my employer contacts and everything. You guys have been so great. I really appreciate you guys presenting and being here to share your opportunities with the group of students that were targeted at City Colleges of Chicago. So thanks so much.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you to the folks at IGEN. Thank you to the employers for, again, taking time out of your busy schedules to meet and speak with us today. And then, of course, to the students and or job seekers that are on the line. We hope that it was fruitful and hope that it leads you to your next career. Thank you all so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.